Sairam students, today in value education we are going to see lesson number 10, that is Sir Isaac Newton. He was the founder of modern physics. So he was born on 1642 and he died in the year 1727. So this is the photo of Sir Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton is popularly known as the scientist who saw an apple fall down from a tree and discovered the force of gravity. Later, he formulated the laws of planetary motions. His momentous contributions started a scientific revolution in the 17th century. So I hope you all know that this story very well, right? One day Newton was sitting below the apple tree and he saw the apple falling down. So this apple, it fell down, and how he discovered, Isaac Newton discovered that this apple is falling down because of the force of gravity. So he also formulated various laws of planetary motions, and he has given lot of contribution to in the scientific revolution. Newton was born on Christmas Day in 1642 in Lincolnshire, London. Newton was named Isaac in the memory of his father. Newton's family were farmers by tradition and they did not have even formal education. But Newton's mother's family was educated. So Newton was brought by his mother's family when his father died. So when was Newton born? He was born on the Christmas Day, that is 25th December, right? So he was born in the year 1642. And where was he born? He was born in London, a place named as Lincolnshire. So Newton was given the name in the memory of his father, right? So Isaac, that's the reason his name is Isaac Newton. So his family were farmers by tradition. Farmers by tradition means their ancestors, they used to do farming, right? So they did not have any education regarding it, right? Because they used to always do farming. But in the mother's family, they were very educated. So that's the reason when Newton's father died, so Newton was brought by his mother's family. In the beginning, Newton was sent to primary school which was near to his house. When he was 12 years old, he was sent to King's School which was 12 kilometers away from his home. His mother made arrangement for his boarding in one of her friend's house, Mrs. Clark. Mr. Clark was a chemist and a kind-hearted man. So he allowed young Newton to indulge into chemical experiments to satisfy his curiosity. So initially Newton, he was sent to a primary school and that was just near to his house. But when he became 12 years old, he was being shifted to King's School and that was 12 kilometers away from his house. So what his mother did, she made some arrangements. She kept him in boarding, and that too in her friend's house, and her friend's name was Mrs. Clark. And Mrs. Clark's husband, Mr. Clark, he was a chemist, right? Now children, whenever you go to a medical shop, you give the doctor's prescription and the person gives you the medicine. So that is called as a chemist, right? So he was very good by heart, and Newton, he was very much interested in the chemical experiments. So he used to indulge, means Mr. Clark used to allow young Newton to indulge into chemical experiments. Indulge means he used to allow him to see the chemical experiments so that he can satisfy his curiosity. Newton was not a good student initially. Later, he worked so hard day and night that he was top in studies. Newton later studied in Trinity College. He spent most of his available time in the college library. He started reading everything he could lay his hands on. Newton devoted every minute of his working day to satisfy the duped curiosity of his far-reaching mind. So in the beginning, Newton, he was not very good in studies, but then he started working hard day and night, and he he used to come top in his class, right? So he became very intelligent in studies. So later he went to a college named as Trinity, and there he used to spend most of his time in the college library reading the books. So whatever books used to come in his hands, he used to read those books, and he devoted every single minute of his working day. So whatever curiosity is there in his mind, so he used to read all those books, and he used to always think, right? Teaching at Cambridge and Oxford was based on the idea of Plato and Aristotle and the old geocentric theory of the universe. But Newton kept himself abreast of what was happening in the world of science elsewhere. He wrote a slogan in his notebook: Plato is my friend, Aristotle is my friend, but my best friend is truth. Newton determined to reach truth on his own. So, what Newton started teaching in the Cambridge and Oxford, right? And old geocentric theory of the universe. It means children that there is a theory of the solar system in which the earth is assumed to be at the center, right? So this was based on whose idea? On the idea of Plato and Aristotle. Now these two are the philosophers, Greek philosophers. Okay, so what used to Newton do? He used to keep himself abreast. Abreast means he used to keep update. He used to keep himself update with what is happening in the world of science every day, right? Then he also wrote a slogan in his notebook. What was that slogan? He wrote, Plato is my friend and Aristotle is also my friend, but his best friend is truth, right? So one day, Newton was fascinated when he saw some workers erecting a windmill on the road and watched them carefully. As soon as he reached home, he started working and made a perfect replica of the windmill. Not only that, he also used a mouse, which he called the miller, to supply the power to make the mill turn and run. So one day, what happened? Newton, he was walking on the road and he saw some workers erecting a windmill on the road, right? So fascinated. Now what is the meaning of fascinated? He got attracted, right? He saw these workers working on that windmill and he got attracted, and he started observing them, what they were doing. So he observed them, and then when he reached home, he made a perfect replica. Replica means a perfect a duplicate copy, right? A duplicate copy of what he had seen the workers erecting the windmill on the road. Same copy he made, the windmill copy he made. And then what he did, he used a mouse and he named that mouse as Miller. So that what was the work of the mouse? The work of the mouse was to supply the power so that the mill will turn and it will run, right? Another day, when Newton was thinking about various mysteries of the day-to-day world, an apple fell from the tree under which he was sitting and hit the ground near his feet. That very moment, a brilliant idea flashed in his alert mind. He started thinking and finally concluded that the same force, that is the gravitational force, kept planets in orbit around the sun. Thus he discovered the basic laws of motion. Later, he also discovered light and its properties. So Newton, as I told you, he used to always think about new things, right? And as in the starting only we saw, right? One day what happened? He was sitting under the tree and the apple fell from the tree, and then it where he was sitting, right? And then that time that idea came in his mind. Flashed means suddenly that idea came in his mind that this is because of the gravitational force, and that's the reason the planets which are there in the orbit, right, they they revolve around the sun because of this gravitational force. And then he discovered the basic laws of motion. He also discovered the lights and its properties. Newton's life was full of adventure in exploring his thoughts and ideas. He always had a pen and a book with him to note down his thoughts or ideas. He used to read a lot. His eyes never grew tired from reading. Sir Isaac Newton did not marry, and he died a glorious death in 1726 without any pain. His body was buried in the Westminster Abbey with great pomp and pride, befitting a national hero. So, in the Newton's life, there were lots of adventures. Adventures in terms of he thought of new ideas. He got new he used to think a lot. So every time wherever he used to go, he used to always carry a pen and a book with him, right? So that whatever ideas come to his mind, he used to note it down immediately. And he used to read a lot. Whatever books he used to get, he used to read them. And he used to never feel tired by reading those books. And Sir Isaac Newton, he got never married, right? And then one fine day he died in 1726, but he was without any pain, right? He was not ill. He died a glorious death. Glorious means a good death he got. And then his body, it was buried in the Westminster Abbey with great pomp and pride. Pomp and pride means with it was like a ceremony, right? And befitting a national hero, means he was considered as a national hero. So nature and nature's law lay hid in night. God said, let Newton bell, and all was light, right? So this saying is written by Alexander Pope. And one quote by Sir Isaac Newton is, if I have done the public any service, it is due to my patient thought. So children, this was about Sir Isaac Newton. So we'll end the session here only. We'll meet in the next session. Till then, goodbye.